Welcome to 365 Language Planet. This is Let's Speak English and Nihongo, episode 19. The theme of this episode is Summer in Japan. Before we start, let's check this month's 365 Language Planets. So far, we have 7 language planets. Charming, Y.O, Kanmama, Takanona, K-Workshop, Hiro T, and A Highbridge. Way to go! If you want to become a 365 language planet, all you need to do is share an idea in the chat. So, let's begin! Oh, Tetsudo! Good to see you too, buddy. Thank you for joining tonight's show. First, let's do a speed training. I'll say a phrase from the video 基本的な英会話の役立つフレーズ number 2 in Japanese and give you 1 minute to change it to English. The first phrase is どんな食べ物が好きですか? So, you have 1 minute to say this, to write how you think you can say this phrase in English in the chat or in the comments. どんな食べ物が好きですか? Any idea? Please let me know. All right, Tetsudo. Nice idea. Nice idea. All right, Takesh, great to see you. Thank you for joining tonight's show. Nice idea. Charming. Nice idea as well. Right. All right, Kanmama, nice idea. Thank you for joining tonight's show. Takanona, great. Nice idea as well. All right, and the answer is, what kind of food do you like? Okay, great job, everyone. Nice job. Okay, so the next phrase is, 嫌いなものはありますか? How do you say this phrase in English? You have 1 minute. 嫌いなものはありますか? How do you say this phrase in English? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments. This is, I would say this is a little bit of a difficult phrase, but very useful. 嫌いなものはありますか? How do you say this phrase in English? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments. All right, Tetsuro, nice idea. All right, Takesh, nice idea. All right, so this phrase is kind of difficult, but I recommend actually using is there. Is there anything? Yes, that's okay. K-Workshop, thank you for joining tonight's show. Hiro T, thank you for joining tonight's show too. Okay, so my answer is, is there anything you don't like? All right, Takanona, nice idea. All right. Okay, great job, everyone. Nice ideas, nice ideas. Is there is the easiest way. You can say, is there anything you don't like? Is there anything you dislike? If you say, do you, that's okay too. Like, do you have any dislikes? Do you have anything you don't like? Those phrases are okay too. So great job. Nice idea, Mama. I think you meant, is there, right? Is there anything you don't like? But yeah, okay, Mama. Nice job. Nice job, everyone. Okay, so the last phrase is もっと飲みたいですか? How do you say もっと飲みたいですか in English? You have 1 minute to tell me in the chat or in the comments. もっと飲みたいですか? I think this is a very useful phrase. How do you say もっと飲みたいですか in English? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments. All right, K Workshop, nice idea, very quick. I think this phrase is very useful if you go to a Nomi Hodai party in Japan. Nice idea, Charmy. And Kanmama, nice idea. Tetsuo, nice idea. Hiroti, nice idea. All right, and the answer is, do you wanna drink more? So he says, would you like to drink more? Nice idea, Takesh. That's okay too. You know, you could say, would you like to drink more? Do you want to drink more? Both are okay. Do you want more? Nice idea, Takenona. So everyone, perfect. Great job. Nice job. Okay, so in the next speed training, I will say phrases in Japanese from the speed training video I released on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So please check that out before next show. Now, let's talk about the theme of tonight's episode, which is summer in Japan. The first question of tonight's show is, oh my gosh, one of my favorite summer activities in Japan is watching firework festivals. How about you? 日本での夏の楽しみの一つは花火大会を見ることです。あなたはどうですか? Now, please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります. One of my favorite summer activities in Japan is watching firework festivals. How about you? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. 日本での夏の楽しみの一つは花火大会を見ることです。あなたはどうですか? チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. This is actually, I would say this is my wife's favorite activity in the summer. As many of you know, my favorite activity is a little bit different. 日本での夏の楽しみの一つはビアガーデンに行くことです。あなたはどうですか? Okay, Charming says one of my favorite summer activities in Japan is eating kakigori, shaved ice. Yes, that's a great idea. Thank you, Charming. As I wrote, 日本での夏の楽しみの一つはビアガーデンに行くことです。あなたはどうですか? All right, how about you? what is one of your favorite summer activities in Japan? I love eating kakigori too, just like Charming. But how about you? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments. All right, Tetsuo says, one of my favorite summer activities is watching MMA match called Super Litzen. Sounds fun. Thank you, Tetsuo. Hiroti says, me too. Unfortunately, I don't like crowds though. Yeah. I don't like crowds very much either. Yeah, it's too bad. I'm saying that's definitely one of the bad points about if you go, and drive to a place where you can watch the fireworks festival. After it's finished, it takes a long time to drive home. The traffic is very bad. In the last few years, one of my favorite summer activities in Japan is hiking. How about you? All right, Takanona says, my favorite summer activity is Bon Odori. Sounds fun. Mama says, one of my favorite summer activities in Japan is going to a hot spring with my family. Sounds fun. Then Mikata says, one of my favorite summer activities is going to a beer garden too. Oh, how wonderful. And thank you so much, Hiromi Okada, for joining tonight's show. Tetsuo says, I also like watching fireworks festivals. That's great. Okay, Workshop says, my favorite summer activity is playing fireworks. That's nice. Charming says, one of my favorite summertime activities, I see, is early morning. Interesting idea. That's kind of the time of day. I would say, one of my favorite times of day in summer is the early morning. Nice idea, Charming. Great job. Takeshi says, I like to watch fireworks too, but I don't like the crowd. That sounds like Hiroti. Okay, great job, everyone. All right, so now, please write your answer. Please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。Okay. So now you can write a new question in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書けます。And it could be a simple question or it could be a difficult question. Anything's okay. Do you have a favorite fireworks festival in Japan? That's my new question. Do you have a favorite fireworks festival in Japan? But as always, that's just my new question. My idea just came to me. Now, you can share your, new question ideas in the chat or in the comments. Natsu no ichiban suki na nomimono wa nan desu ka? All right, that's my new Japanese question. What is your favorite summer drink? All right. Okay, Charmin says, do you have a special private time in a day? Great question, Charmin. I will think about it. How about you, Charming? Tetsuro says, when you were a child, what did you like in summer vacation? I like catching insects. Me too, Tetsuro. That was one of my favorite activities. I loved wearing socks on my hands and trying to catch bees, especially bees and sometimes spiders. How about you, Tetsuro? What kind of insects did you like to catch? Cave Workshop says, one of my favorite Japanese summer foods is cold ramen called hiyashi chuka. How about you? Me too. Cave Workshop, I love hiyashi chuka. I think I love maybe salmon noodles. Yeah, salmon noodles too. I love, and I love hiyashi chuka. Takesh says, when I was a kid, my favorite summertime pastime was collecting insects. How about you? That's funny. I love collecting insects too. Yeah, it's just like Tetsuro. I like catching beetles. That's nice. I was in America. There are some, in Oregon. I should say, in Oregon, we have some beetles, but not that many. And so, but lots of bees and lots of spiders. So I often tried catching bees and spiders. But in Japan, there are some very cool beetles. All right, Takesh, what kind of beetles did you like to catch? All right, Charmin says, I love hiyashi chuka and somen too. That's great. Akinona says, bon odori is when people dance together wearing yukata. Have you ever worn a yukata? Good question. I think I don't know if I've worn, technically speaking, a yukata or not. I have worn that kind of onsen robe. Kind of like a yukata, maybe. But my favorite summer clothes are the jimbe. All right. Kanmama says, I love hiyashi chuka too. Okay, great job. All right, great job, everyone. Nice job. Let's move on to the next question of tonight's show, which is, where do you think is the best place to go in the summer in Japan? 日本語で、日本で夏に行くのに一番いい場所はどこだと思いますか? So, please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. Takesh says, I like stag beetles. Yeah, I think in Japan, there are a lot of cool stag beetles. So that's very lucky, living in Japan to catch those kinds of beetles. Okay. So, oh no. Sorry. Where do you think is the best place to go in the summer in Japan? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. 日本で夏に行くのに一番いい場所はどこだと思いますか? チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. If you want, you could say, well, this is a tough question because there are many nice places to go in the summer in Japan. But, it's up to you. You can write anything you want. Recently, it's not for everyone, but for me, I think Douai Station is the best place to go in the summer because it is very cool. All right, Charmin says one of the best places in Japan is the movie theater. I think it is very comfortable and cool. Nice idea, Charmin. Tetsudo says, my favorite place in summer is an air-conditioned room, like a library and a convenience store. Great idea, Tetsudo. I love those places too. And a good place to exercise. All right. Takesh says, I recommend going to a region with low humidity. Nice idea, Takesh. As I wrote, for me, I think Douai Station is one of the best. Oh no, I should add S. Best places to go in the summer because it is very cool and a good place to exercise. I recommend if in the summertime, if you visit Japan, please check out Douai Station. All right, K Workshop says, I think Kusatsu is the best place to go in the summer in Japan. You can avoid summer heat and enjoy a hot spring. Sounds fun. Nice idea. Naomi Okada says, I love to go to Karuizawa instead of in the summer vacation season because it's very busy. I think Karuizawa is another fantastic place to go. Great ideas, everyone. Great job. All right, I'm going to move on to the next section. So now, Hiro T says, I recommend the Limestone Cave. It's cool and exciting. Sounds fun. I want to see. Okay, so now, please write a new question in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。Okay, so you can write a new question in the chat or in the comments. 今、チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書けます。It could be about summer, it could be about anything. It's up to you. And yeah, please, this is a great chance to use English, or if you're studying Japanese, you can use Japanese. 英語を使います。もし日本語を勉強したら日本語も使います。ぜひ。All right, Tetsuo says, in summer, do you burn a mosquito coil of incense? Katori Senko. I like the incense. All right, great question, Tetsuo. So personally, I don't, but at some of the places I teach English, sometimes they burn coil outside, and so sometimes I see it. I see that, but I like to wear. For me, I like to wear kind of black tights on my arms. Kind of like very light black tight shirt or black tights for my legs. And sometimes I use bug spray. So I don't personally, I don't use mosquito coils very much. But some places I teach at, they do. Takanona says, what do you think is the best thing to eat in summer in Japan? Great question. Tough question because there's always so much good food in Japan. So that is a really tough question. How about you, Takanona? I know. Definitely Japanese shaved ice. Kakigori is a great snack to eat. As is ice cream. In Japan, you can buy many types of, different kinds of ice cream, which are all great. And if you want to be healthy, I think tofu is a great food to eat. You don't have to cook it. You can eat it cold. And so, yeah, it's very nice. It's cold and you don't have to cook it. So it's great. And of course, sushi is great too. I love sushi. Okay, Takanona says eating curry udon and sweating is the best. I like it. Some people love the feel of sweat. I know. For me, I sweat all the time, so it's not special. All right. K Workshop says, where do you think is the best spot to enjoy drinking in the summer in Guma? I definitely say Takashimaya Beer Garden. Me too. Take says, where do you recommend to go? I would add to go in summer in Japan with low humidity. Great question. Well, the great thing about Japan is the cities are so hot in the summertime, but the mountains, if you go to like the mountains and the mountain tops, the humidity is lower, temperature is lower, great places to go. So I definitely recommend going to mountains in the summer in Japan. How about you, Takeshi? Please let me know in the chat. Okay, so great job. Let's move on to the last question of tonight's show, which is, do you think summer is a good season to visit Japan? 日本語で、夏は日本を訪れるのにいい季節だと思いますか? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります. Do you think summer is a good season to visit Japan? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. 夏は日本に訪れるのにいい季節だと思いますか? チャットまたはコメントに答えを書いてください. I think this is kind of a tough question because some places, in my opinion, some places are not good to visit in the summer. Okay, Charmin says, no, I don't think so. The summer in Japan is too hot and humid. And I think so too, Charmin. I think many people would agree with you. And so, yeah, I think, for many people, the summer is not a great time to visit Japan. But, maybe, you could, instead of going to like Tokyo or Guma, you could go to Hokkaido. Hokkaido is hot, but not too hot, I think. Some people say it's too hot, so, but, everyone's different. How about you? Do you think summer is a good season to visit Japan? Please write your answer in the chat or in the comments. 夏は日本を訪れるのにいい季節だと思いますか? All right. Hiromo Yokara says, I don't think so because it's too hot. I recommend spring and autumn must be good seasons. Yeah. Spring and autumn in Japan are fantastic. Yes, I love the spring and the autumn too. But if you come in the summer, you can go to a Japanese beer garden, and if it's a real beer garden like the ones we have in Guma, wow, so nice, so fantastic. All right, Takesh says no, because Japan is too hot and humid in summer. It is. That is very true. So you have to be careful, but like I said, right, tough. K Workshop says tough question, but I think so. If you visit Japan in the summer, you can get unforgettable memories. Great. I would add S, unforgettable memories. Maybe like falling asleep outside the station, or who knows, I think, or just, just experiencing the super heavy sweat. So yeah, I think so too. K Workshop does a great vocabulary. Unforgettable memories. I think so. And like I said, if you like hiking, if you like mountains, I think Japan's a great place to visit in the summer. Tatsuro says it depends on the situations. I think in summer, I recommend to you that you join Japanese traditional summer festivals. Nice idea. A hybrid says, no, it's too hot and I don't recommend it. How about you? All right. A hybrid, thank you so much for joining tonight's show. Like I said, if you like mountains, I think summer is a great time to visit Japan. Takanona says, a beer after a shower on a summer evening in Japan is the best. Well said, well said. So yeah, great, nice idea. I agree. Okay, well, let's move on to the last section of tonight's show. So this is the last time you can write a new question in the chat or in the comments for tonight. チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。You have 4 minutes. 4分間あります。All right. And you can write a question by changing my question, or you can write a completely new question. That's okay too. Let's enjoy using English, and maybe enjoy using Japanese. If you're studying Japanese, you want to practice using Japanese, どうぞ. But if you're studying English, you can use English. All right. Hiromi Okada says, do you have any plans in this summer vacation? Great question. No, I would say I don't have any plans yet. But I am thinking about going to the US, maybe. How about you, Hiromi? Do you have any plans in, this summer vacation? Please let me know. If you're just joining the show, you are welcome to write a new question in the chat or in the comments. チャットまたはコメントに新しい質問を書いてください。K Workshop says, do you think it will be extremely hot this summer? Probably. I would say probably. But how about you, K Workshop? When it comes to weather, you never know. It could be super hot or it might not be. So, yeah, you never know. Kanmama says, I've never been to Hokkaido in the summer, but I'd love to. How about you? Great idea. Yes, I've been to Hokkaido a few times in the summer, and I loved it. And so I definitely recommend visiting Hokkaido in the summer if you can, if possible. Tetsuro says, do you like swimming or sunbathing in the summer sea? I like both. Great question. I do, I love the ocean, and I love sunbathing and swimming, but I don't like sand so much. And then one more bad point is the sunshine. At the beach, the sun, is very strong. There's almost no shade. And so that's why I think, mountains are nice, because mountains have lots of trees and, sometimes shade. So I'm more of a mountain man now than a sea man. But nice idea, Tetsuro. Okay, Workshop says, I don't hope so, but I think so. I think so too. So I think tonight, after this show, I'm going to drink my favorite drink, which is Pocari Light. I mix the kind of Pocari powder with lots of water. It's a good drink to help you survive Japan's hot summer. So if you haven't already, I definitely, I have no sponsorship with Pocari Sweat, but I think Pocari's, Sweat, they make a great powder that you can mix with water and have a very healthy, beneficial drink for the summer season. Okay, well, if you're still typing, you are welcome to share your ideas anytime in the chat or in the comments. Takanona says, do you think summer is a good season to study? Great question. Tough question. How about you, Takanona? Takesh says, when I was a kid, Japanese summers were not as hot as they are now. And those days, we could play outside all day long. Wow, so lucky. Yeah, times change. And so I would say nowadays, maybe playing outside all day is not a good idea for kids. Not a good idea for grown-ups either. Okay, but great job. Nice ideas. And, Takanona, I think, any season is a good season to study. Okay. So that's the end of tonight's show. Thank you so much for studying and using English and Japanese with me tonight. We have this show, Let's Speak English and Japanese live every Sunday at 8:30 Japan Standard Time. So if you haven't already, please subscribe and give the show a big thumbs up. All right, Tetsuro, my pleasure. Thank you so much for joining tonight's show. All right. Good night, K Workshop, to you too. And good night, Hiromi. Thank you so much for joining tonight's show. I hope everyone has a great night, and I will see you next time. Mata chikai uchi ni aimashou. Till then. Oh yeah, thank you, Kamama. You too. Good night.